I was reviewing tenant applications when my phone started buzzing with photos from the family group chat. My older brother Derek was giving what looked like a tour of the West Side apartments, my 4-story building downtown. "Derek, check out the family's new investment property. Dad helped me secure this building. We're converting it into luxury rentals. Family business at its finest." I zoomed in on the photos. That was definitely my building. The one I'd purchased 2 years ago through my LC. The one currently undergoing renovations between tenant cycles. "Mom, Derek has always been so business savvy. Finally, a real estate mogul in the family. Derek, let's just say I've been making smart moves while some people waste their time with little side hustles." Dad co-signed, and we're using the family trust as collateral. The building was sitting empty. Owner didn't even care about it. My hands tightened on my coffee mug. The building wasn't empty. 3 of 8 units were occupied. And there was no family trust. Dad had maybe $50,000 in savings. "Dad, Derek's got big plans. We're thinking of moving Mom and me into the penthouse unit. Carol, you and Tom could take the second floor. Make it a real family compound." I pulled up my property management software. The West Side apartments, purchased for $1.2 million with earnings from my data analytics consulting firm, the career my family called boring computer work, while celebrating Derek's assistant manager position at a car dealership. "Derek, having a meeting with investor friends tomorrow at 3 p.m. to discuss renovation plans. This is how you build generational wealth, people. Not like Maya's little freelance gigs." I called my real estate attorney, Jennifer Park, and my property manager, Ron Martinez. "We have a situation," I said. "My family thinks they own my building." Jennifer's response was immediate. "I'll be there tomorrow as your legal representative. Ron, you come as property manager. Document everything." I screenshotted every message and forwarded them to my legal team. The next 24 hours were surreal. Derek posted photos on social media in front of MY building with captions about new ventures and family legacy. Mom changed her Facebook banner to the building's facade. Dad was texting relatives about investment opportunities. "Derek, meeting with serious investors today. If you want in on the ground floor of the Chin family real estate empire, now's your time. Minimum $25,000 investment. Cousin Mike, count me in. How much for a stake?" My stomach turned. He was trying to take money from relatives for a property he didn't own. I forwarded everything to Jennifer. "He's attempting to defraud family members." Her response: "This is now criminal territory. Document everything." At 2:45 p.m. I parked down the street and watched my family arrive. Derek pulled up in his leased BMW that he told everyone was paid off. Dad arrived with Mom, both dressed like they were attending a board meeting. Aunt Carol, Uncle Tom, and Cousin Mike followed. Derek unlocked the main entrance with a key I recognized, the building's superintendent's master key that had gone missing 2 weeks ago. At 2:55 Jennifer and Ron arrived. I met them at the entrance. "Ready?" Jennifer asked. We walked into the common area where Derek had arranged folding chairs in a circle. He stood at a makeshift podium with a laptop showing a presentation titled, "Chin Family Properties, Building an Empire." Derek's face went from confident to confused. "Maya? What are you doing here?" "This is a private investment meeting. I'm here with my attorney and property manager," I said calmly. "Your attorney?" Derek laughed. "Maya works from home doing spreadsheets. She doesn't have an attorney." Jennifer stepped forward. "I'm Jennifer Park from Park & Associates. I've been Maya Chen's real estate attorney for 3 years. I'm Derek Chin, the owner of this building," he said confidently. "Interesting," Ron said, pulling out his tablet. "Because I'm Ron Martinez, the property manager for this building, and my records show a different owner entirely." Derek's smile wavered. "There must be confusion. My father and I just acquired this property. The previous owner was some LLC that didn't even use the building." "Summit Property Holdings LLC," I said quietly. "That's my company." The room went silent. Jennifer opened her briefcase. "These are the property records filed with the county. The sole owner is Summit Property Holdings LLC, wholly owned by Maya Chin. She purchased this property 23 months ago for $1.2 million paid in full. She handed the documents to my father, who stared at them in shock. "This has to be a mistake," Derek said, his voice losing certainty. "I've been meeting with the bank." "Which bank?" Ron asked. "Because as property manager, I handle all financial matters for this building. No lending institution has contacted me regarding a sale." Derek's face turned red. "Dad co-signed the loan. We used the family trust." "There is no family trust," I said. "Dad has a savings account and a 401k. Neither have anything to do with this property." Mom grabbed Dad's arm. "Henry, what is she talking about? You said Derek secured the building." "Derek said he'd found an investment opportunity," Dad said weakly. "He had keys, he had access. He stole the master key from my building superintendent 2 weeks ago," I said. "Mrs. Chin reported it missing. I have the police report." Jennifer pulled out another document. "Breaking and entering. Trespassing. And attempted fraud." She looked at cousin Mike. "Did Derek ask you for money?" Mike nodded slowly. 25,000. Minimum investment. "Soliciting investments for property he doesn't own," Jennifer continued. "That's criminal fraud. This is a misunderstanding." Derek stepped forward. "Maya, you never told us you owned property. How were we supposed to know? I invited everyone to my office opening when I started Summit Property Holdings. No one came. I mentioned my first rental property in the family chat. Mom said I was showing off. I sent photos when I closed on this building. Derek commented that I probably just toured it and was pretending. I pulled out my phone and scrolled to November 2023. Just closed on the West Side Apartments, 8 units downtown." Derek's response: "Cool story. Let us know when you buy something real." Ron cleared his throat. "For the record, Maya owns 3 apartment buildings in this city. 22 units total. Annual rental income exceeds $380,000. 3 buildings." Mom's voice was faint. "My data analytics firm generates approximately $425,000 annually," I added. "I use that for property investments. I've tried to share this, but my career is dismissed as boring computer work, while Derek's assistant manager position is treated like he's a CO." Derek scrolled frantically through his phone. "But I had meetings at the bank." "You talked to a loan officer about general financing," Jennifer interrupted. "We called them. You never mentioned you didn't own the property. You never started a formal application. You fantasized about owning this building and convinced yourself it was real." "The presentation," Uncle Tom said, pointing at the laptop. "You have a whole business plan." "For someone else's property," Ron said. "Which includes several code violations and illegal renovation plans." Dad sank into a chair. "Derek, tell me you didn't take money from anyone. Just deposits." Derek said desperately. "I was going to return it once we closed." "You took deposits for property you don't own?" Jennifer's voice was sharp. "How much total?" Silence. 75,000, cousin Mike said slowly. 25 from me, 25 from Carol and Tom, 25 from Uncle Robert. Uncle Robert was on a fixed income. Jennifer looked at me. "This is a police matter. He's defrauded family members of $75,000. I'll return it." Derek shouted. "With what money?" I asked. "Your leased BMW? Your overpriced apartment? Derek, you've been living beyond your means for years." Mom was crying. "Maya, surely we can work this out privately. Family doesn't call police on family. Family doesn't steal from family," I replied. "Family doesn't break into family's property. Family doesn't commit fraud. But you have 3 buildings." Dad protested. "You're successful. You could help Derek. Help him avoid consequences for breaking the law?" I shook my head. "I got Derek interviews at 3 companies last year. He didn't show up because they were beneath him. I offered to teach him about property investment. He said he didn't need lessons from his little sister." Ron stepped forward with his tablet. "Derek's been entering without authorization and showing it to prospective investors. He's damaged 2 units by forcing open locked doors. Repair costs, $8,000. I didn't damage anything," Derek said. Ron turned the tablet showing security footage of Derek kicking open a door. Jennifer made a note. breaking and entering, destruction of property, theft, fraud. Maya, I need your decision. I looked at my family. At Derek, who'd built his identity on being superior to me. At my parents who'd enabled him. At relatives who'd believed his lies without ever asking about my actual career. Derek returns every dollar. All $75,000. Within 30 days. I don't have that. Derek protested. Then liquidate assets or take out a loan. Not my problem. Second, Derek pays for property damage. $8,000. Third, Derek signs a trespass notice. If he comes within 100 feet of any property I own, I press criminal charges. Fourth, everyone acknowledges in writing that I own this building and any future claims will be considered fraud. You're doing this to your brother? Mom asked. He stole from Uncle Robert, who lives on Social Security. Derek took $25,000 from him. Aunt Carol looked horrified. You took money from Robert? Ron herded people toward the exit. This building is private property. Everyone except Maya, Jennifer, and I need to leave. What about our investment? Uncle Tom asked. The second-floor unit? There is no family compound, I said. This is my investment property. The second floor has a tenant who's been here 18 months. I'm not evicting her. Jennifer handed me documents. Derek has 30 days to make restitution or you press charges. As they left, Derek turned back. You've always been jealous of me. Jealous? Derek, I own 3 buildings. I make more in 6 months than you make in 2 years. I have 0 debt and a growing portfolio. What would I be jealous of? He had no answer. 30 days later, Derek had returned only $40,000. He'd sold his BMW, taken out a high-interest loan and borrowed from friends. It wasn't enough. Uncle Robert, Mike, Carol, and Tom pursued criminal charges. Derek was arrested for fraud and theft. My parents begged me to drop the property damage claims and cover Derek's shortfall. I refused. Derek pleaded guilty. 2 years probation, community service, and a felony record. He lost his job. Last I heard, he was working at a call center living with our parents. Mom and Dad didn't speak to me for 6 months. When they reached out, it was to ask for a loan to help with Derek living at home. I said no. The West Side apartments are fully renovated and occupied. Rental income increased 32%. I purchased a 4th building last month. My family no longer asks about my work. They don't celebrate my successes, but they don't dismiss them anymore. Uncle Robert sent me a card. Someone needed to stop him before he hurt more people. He got his money back through restitution. Sometimes I drive past the West Side apartments and remember Derek with his fake presentation, selling investments in a building he never owned. He built his empire on lies. I built mine on hard work. Only one of us still has buildings to show for it.